Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here to a VGC 2016 reality check. Now, this is a pretty crazy format that we have legendaries for VGC and it's all over the place. But the biggest thing that's really been a peeve of mine is all this fear, all this just hype over how crazy Mega Rayquaza is going to centralize. I think that's because people just don't understand where Mega Rayquaza's power is. That because of all this Smogon crap running around, people are just like, oh, it's going to be the most busted thing ever. It has its own tier in singles. But this is doubles. And doubles for VGC makes it to where Mega Rayquaza isn't even that good because way too many things threaten it. The idea in singles is that Mega Rayquaza gets a Dragon Dance and it sweeps through an entire team and doesn't get touched. Well, it doesn't have great multi-targeting. It can't really shut down two Pokemon at once, and if the other Pokemon gets outclassed by the opponent, well then Mega Rayquaza is just a sitting duck, and there's many reasons behind that. One, other legendaries are in play, so if Mega Rayquaza doesn't one-hit KO that legendary might be a Dragon type and can just Draco Meteor, boom, Rayquaza's gone. Also, another thing that people seem to just not understand about Dragon's Ascent. Dragon's Ascent lowers defense and special defense by 1. So Rayquaza's not even that tanky of a Pokemon, even with Delta Stream. After it uses Dragon's Ascent, if that Pokemon survives with a Focus Sash, Bulk, some kind of team support, anything like that, well, it doesn't really matter because now it's just going to eat an Ice Beam. Even like a Delta Stream resisting move that turns into neutral or only makes it 1 time super effective or 2 times super effective is still going to have a really high chance of knocking it out. Also, Rayquaza brings the Life Orb. It's losing 10% of its health, so that means you're only knocking out a 90% health Rayquaza that has 60% of its defenses. It's not that great in doubles. So the biggest comment I also saw is like, well, every team is just going to be Mega Rayquaza and Landorus, and then that's going to win everything. And it's going to be more centralizing than 2015. It's pretty impossible at this point to centralize more than 2015. We had 15 different Pokemon in the Masters top 8, and with other legendary Pokemon around, there are a lot of really good options, such as Kyogre. We have Kyogre here, which we'll talk about in a bit, but overall, like, this is a very frail Pokemon when it comes to doubles. That can get faked out, there's a lot of things that can just go and straight up shut it down. Depending on the support Pokemon you have, Landorus and Mega Rayquaza, that's super offensive. Now, honestly, I would say that the biggest threat would be a Thundurus. Like, Thundurus doesn't have any weaknesses under this Rayquaza thing because then the ice isn't really going to affect its flying typing. So that's going to be one of the bigger fears, same with rocks on the Thundurus. But overall, like, it's not going to be overwhelming power. Thundurus has to hit super effective to score a one-hit KO, and unless like Rayquaza and Thundurus pile the same Pokemon for a KO, well then the Pokemon that isn't getting piled is either going to be massively supporting to keep it to where my Pokemon isn't fading, or it's going to take out Mega Rayquaza. So there's so many things that make it to where it's just not going to happen the way that people expect it to with Mega Rayquaza because it becomes absolutely frail. It's a sitting duck, even if it scores the KO, because there's 2 Pokemon on the field. All we need is a Scarf Pokemon or Focus Sash Pokemon with Ice that can do some work, helping hand boosting. Trick Room. I think Trick Room is going to be huge. Like, okay, Mega Rayquaza, you'll see Dragon's Ascent. You can't really run the Outrage that reliably because Outrage picks a random target. So if you bring a Fairy, Mega Rayquaza can't use Outrage, and if it has defensive investment like a Sylveon, it's going to survive the Dragon's Ascent. So this is it. This is how this entire thing breaks down. And then you'll see something like Earthquake, and then you need Protect. And that's going to pretty much be your Mega Rayquaza. Well, with the Earthquake, what about Pokemon like Bronzong? Levitate Bronzong isn't going to be pressured by anything in this situation that, you'll need a Fire-type Pokemon next to Mega Rayquaza, but that's going to have its own weaknesses. So it's not an infallible Pokemon. Then Bronzong sets up the Trick Room, Mega Rayquaza might have used Dragon's Ascent by that point, and if it's going for Dragon Dance is super risky. Dragon Dance means that if they have just any kind of damage afterwards, or if they go for the Trick Room, you set up Dragon Dance on the turn, Mega Rayquaza takes 2 hits, and that's going to be a dead Mega Rayquaza before anything happens. So Trick Room will be able to stop it out pretty well because then you can just throw down damage and lock it down, and there's really not that many great options next to it. Like Fake Out could help because you fake out that Pokemon that you hit with the Dragon's Ascent, or you hit the other one with Dragon's Ascent, but then you just bring a Pokemon like Meowstic. Meowstic can do all sorts of things as a prankster, that you can just throw out the Swagger onto Mega Rayquaza and play an RNG game. You can set up a Reflect, that way you're taking less damage, and you even have Quick Guard. So Meowstic is going to be a really good jack of all trades for dealing with Mega Rayquaza and Fake Out open. So you Quick Guard that, and I was thinking Mega Altaria. Mega Altaria is going to be able to survive a Dragon's Ascent. It can Hyper Voice, so it gets to hit both opponents pretty well. So say it's Mega Rayquaza and a Fake Out. We Quick Guard that Fake Out, Dragon's Ascent onto Mega Altaria. Mega Altaria survives it because you can't throw an Outrage or any Dragon type attack. And then Hyper Voice picks off Mega Rayquaza and does damage to the other Pokemon. Meowstic's still at full health, and then it has all sorts of things that it can do from there. It can then throw out Swagger, it can keep up screens, it has Helping Hand. So I mean, say you outplay your opponent some other way, you know, there's a lot of weird things that can go on. So it's going to be like more outplay based, but you can really defend against Mega Rayquaza pretty easily with a lot of Pokemon. Then again, Dragon type Pokemon. There's gonna be legendary dragons. They're just gonna survive unless it's like, unless the Outrage picks them, or if Mega Rayquaza is running a Draco Meteor. But then you can play around that as well in your own different way. So it's not an infallible Pokemon by any means. And something as simple as Meowstic Mega Altaria, any Trick Room can really bring it down. And it's very vulnerable. It's like a super hyper offense, and it's gonna be very vulnerable. Also, it's your Mega. It's your Mega. That's how you have to look at this. And I mean, even if I'm trading like my non-Mega Pokemon for Mega Rayquaza, that Mega Rayquaza Dragon's Ascent knocks out my Pokemon, and then my other Pokemon knocks out Mega Rayquaza, I'm taking out your most powerful Pokemon in theory for just that. And also Mega Altaria, it can do all sorts of silly things. What if it has Tailwind? So you can have any Quick Guard Pokemon do Quick Guard Tailwind on that first turn, it survives that hit, and now Mega Altaria is going to be faster and just outspeed damage, and then the other Pokemon that use Quick Guard, it's got Tailwind, it can outspeed the Thundurus, and then you just have double damage right there. Now Mega Rayquaza can have the extreme speed, but you're pressuring the Quick Guard, and if it has extreme speed, then this is some pretty sad coverage right here, honestly, because you need that Protect, and then it comes down to Protect outplays, but that's not really neutral because the skill matchup could go either way in that. So it's all over the place with Mega Rayquaza. It's not that strong a Pokemon. I think the biggest thing is people forget Dragon's Ascent. In single battles, it doesn't matter because you set up 1 or 2 on the Dragon Dance, and then it doesn't matter because you're never getting hit again because you're one-shotting all of your opponent's Pokemon. But your vulnerabilities are way too much right here. Double hitting moves, even ice moves, like Cloud9 can clear up the Delta Stream. We also have it to where Worry Seed, like Prankster Worry Seed on Whimsicott. Now you get rid of the Delta Stream, and you can just like scarf an ice attack into it. Now, also Mega Rayquaza, it might have to Protect on that first turn. It only has 95 base speed on that turn that it's going to Mega Evolve, so you Mega into a Protect, and then the other Pokemon, it's vulnerable, so that's when we're getting into Mind Games. So it's going to be a decent Mind Game Pokemon, but if you get outplayed, you just lose your strongest Pokemon for free, almost. And with minimal trading, you can reflect against it, like you know what this Pokemon's going to do. And then there's other Pokemon, like, alright, so we have 115 speed right here. Mega Salamence is going to be faster, it can hold that Aerialate Hyper Voice and a Draco Meteor, so like Draco Meteor, blow up the Rayquaza, like protect Draco Meteor. What's Rayquaza going to do? Unless it has a Tailwind support, but then you can match it with your Tailwind support. So it's just a Pokemon that does damage, and it's going to be pretty vulnerable because you can one-shot it after that Dragon's Ascent, so it's going to be a high trade Pokemon. If you play to counter it, you know, you can counter that out pretty well, play against Kyogre, and then you just run some weird stuff. This is why I think the meta is going to get more diverse. We can see some very realistic usage here for Meowstic and Mega Altaria, like the Quick Guard protection on Meowstic into helping hand damage on a Hyper Voice boost. This could work for anything. Mega Salamence, it works just as well. I mean, you can find a lot of really crazy things that are going to bring more Pokemon. Like, even though Mega Salamence is a very scary, very strong Pokemon, we didn't see it in 2015, and that's because it does have these frailties. So Mega Rayquaza isn't really much different. It's actually slower, and yeah, that's really all I see here. So I mean, you Scarf it, but then it loses a lot of KO potential because you're not packing the Life Orb. It's not that insane of a Pokemon. So that's going to be your VGC 2016 reality check for Mega Rayquaza. I guess I can do more of these. Tell me which Pokemon you think might have some loopholes to be discovered. I don't know, this was fun, but pretty much biggest thing is I don't understand this like hard-on everyone has from Mega Rayquaza's power, and I've never been sold with it just from like this untouchable, should never be in a Pokemon battle ever kind of standpoint. So guys, enjoy the video, and I hope you all have a nice day. Thank you for watching.